In this lesson plan overview, I'll show you how to use your assessment data to plan and execute a transitional guided reading lesson. I'll also include tips for handling readers who are ready for fluent lessons. For transitional and fluent readers, a leveled passage with comprehension questions is your most valuable assessment. However, you should also consider student responses during small group lessons and individual conferences to determine the text level and focus for guided reading. You will want most transitional readers to read the passage aloud so you can determine whether the student monitors for meaning and uses effective decoding strategies. Fluent readers can read the passage silently, since you already know they are fluent decoders. To assess comprehension for both transitional and fluent readers, ask students to retell the text and respond to some questions.
So why did they put Gracie outside?
Because she was loud and barking.
Yeah, keep going.
Since most transitional readers are still learning phonics skills, a word study inventory will help pinpoint specific skills to teach during word study and guided writing. An assessment summary chart is useful for compiling information to form guided reading groups, identifying a teaching focus, and selecting the right book. When choosing a text for transitional readers, your primary goal is to find a book that supports your focus strategy. If your focus is decoding, select a text with familiar concepts, few unknown vocabulary words, and many multisyllabic words for students to problem solve. To teach fluency, choose a fiction text with interesting dialogue, but few decoding challenges. To practice vocabulary strategies, select a text with some unfamiliar concepts, but one that supports meaning with context clues, illustrations, and a glossary. For fluent readers, you'll want to use a variety of genres that challenge students and fit your focus strategy. Both the transitional and fluent lessons start with a short introduction to the book. Provide a simple description, then have students look through the book to get an idea of what the text is about. Tell me about Gracie on this page. Stephania.
It's too loud in their house.
It's too loud in that house. Okay, turn the page. When working with fluent readers, the emphasis is always on strengthening comprehension. So, during the book introduction, ask students to make predictions and ask questions using text features, such as the table of contents, headings, and illustrations. You did see a seal. We're going to have to read to find out why the seal is in the book about polar bears. Do you have any predictions?
They're hunters of the Arctic.
They're hunters of the Arctic? Any other ideas?
Probably eat the polar bears.
Maybe the seal eats the polar bears, or maybe the
Polar bears eat the seals.
We're going to have to read to find out. Those are great predictions.
Yeah.
As the students preview the book, introduce new vocabulary. Transitional readers may also need help decoding unfamiliar words. We have the painters arrived at the house, or they came to the house. Tell me again, this word is arrived. Let's read that sentence right there. When it says, so when, everybody read that with me. So when they arrived one day to paint Gracie's kitchen, and we'll stop right there. It's important to teach both transitional and fluent readers how to use clues to define new words. So, when introducing new vocabulary at the beginning of the lesson, be sure to select only those words students can't figure out on their own by using context clues or the glossary. If you need to explain the meaning of a word students don't know, break it down into 4 manageable steps. Say the new word and give a simple definition. Connect the word to students' background knowledge. Relate the new word to the text, and ask the students to turn and talk to each other about the word. Once the book has been introduced and you've gone over new vocabulary, students read independently while you observe, prompt, coach, and teach. When working with transitional readers, prompts fall under 4 categories: monitoring for meaning, decoding unknown words using a variety of strategies, reading fluently with appropriate expression, and understanding and retelling what was read. Here's your chance to differentiate your teaching by using prompts tailored to students' individual needs. With this transitional reader, I'm prompting him to monitor for meaning.
Think about your story. What kind of home does she like? She likes it. There you go.
For transitional students who don't have any difficulties with reading the text, work on fluency or retelling. Once students are reading at the fluent level,
Your prompting will focus largely on vocabulary and comprehension. When prompting fluent readers to think about vocabulary strategies, remind them to reread and look for clues in the text, check the picture or visualize the sentence, use a known part of a word, make a connection to similar words, and use text features such as the glossary.
Do you know what a carnivore is? What can you do to help yourself? Remember, it's in boldface words. I'm so glad you noticed that.
Keywords.
It's in boldface, so if you don't know what the word is, you can go to the
Glossary.
Go to the glossary.
Comprehension strategies for fluent readers fall under 3 categories. Literal, which requires students to recall an idea stated in the text. Interpretive, which requires students to make inferences, comparisons, and contrasts. And evaluative, which challenge the reader to evaluate the author's purpose or form an opinion about the text.
Choose a different.
At this level, students write short responses after reading each page or two to reinforce the focus strategy. I prompt this fluent reader to use a literal strategy to recall what she read.
So what did you learn about the polar bear in this page that you think might be important? That starts with a C. Carnivores. And remember, a carnivore is an animal that eats
other animals.
Very good. So I think that'd be a good one to write down.
It usually takes 2 or 3 days to read the book at the transitional and fluent levels. During the reading component of the lesson, take anecdotal notes about your students' strengths and challenges. Each day after students read the text, use your notes to select 1 or 2 teaching points to demonstrate a skill or strategy.
Let me tell you about a couple things that I noticed that were really very good. This was a tricky part for you. Oh, you know exactly where I'm going. And Gregory, what helped you with this word? Was there a part the first part there?
Yes.
What was the first part?
D.
D. And what did Gracie decide to do in this story?
Take a walk all by herself.
Take a walk all by herself.
Follow your teaching points with a discussion of the book. Steer transitional readers into deeper comprehension by asking them a question that requires them to make inferences.
Yeah. And why didn't Gracie stop when everybody was yelling for her to stop? Thumbs up if you have an idea to share. Why do you think she didn't stop? Gregory has an idea? Doesn't say so in the story. You got to come out of your head. Why that dog might not have stopped? Okay, I'm going to start with you, Leighton.
Because she doesn't feel like getting caught.
Discussion with fluent readers is an in-depth exploration of the text they read and the ideas they are forming. During this component of the lesson, continue to integrate your focus strategy.
And tell me about his feet.
He has a grip on his feet because his feet have something sticky right there, and his claws step into the snow.
Conclude the first day of the lesson with a word study component. Transitional readers who have strong phonics and decoding skills can skip the word study. But for those who need instruction, there are several options. A word study inventory can help you match an activity to the skill you want to teach.
All right, so if I give you a word and it rhymes with talk, you're going to put it over here. But if it has the OA sound, if it sounds like O, like in boat, you're going to put it over here. Okay, let's write, where would you put the word walk? Go ahead and decide whether you're going to put it under boat or under talk.
For fluent readers, wrap up the first day of the lesson by having them add 2 words to their new word list. Students should work with these words during independent literacy activities and try to incorporate them into their speech and writing. Periodically, assess students on these words. On day 2 of the transitional lesson, students will usually finish reading the book. Follow the same structure on day 2 as you did on day 1. Day 3 is devoted to guided writing so you can help students sharpen their writing skills. With your support, transitional students write a short response to the text. This improves their writing skills while reinforcing their ability to retell what they read. Fluent readers may need more than 2 days to read the text. If so, extend the lesson an additional day or 2 following the same procedures as in day 1. Fluent readers should always write short responses as they read. But when they finish reading the text, you may also want to do a guided writing lesson to extend their comprehension and help improve their writing skills. The observations you noted over the 2 or 3 day lesson will be used to determine what to teach in your next guided reading lesson.